In what can only be considered a reversal of his campaign promises to get out of Afghanistan, Donald Trump is adding troops to Afghanistan. Karen Travers, ABC News White House correspondent, joins us to fill us in on what happened. Good morning, Karen Travers.
Good morning.
So what happened?
So this, if you really look at what the president said last night, I mean, I think it'd be hard to find what was new there. I mean, what is the shift in strategy that's different from the previous administrations? The goals are the same. The specifics were not detailed last night. So it's hard to look at the metrics of how this is different and what President Trump is going to judge as victory. He said that from now on, victory will be attacking our enemies, crushing ISIS and al-Qaeda, preventing the Taliban from taking over, and stopping terror attacks against Americans. Well, we've heard all that before, of course. I think also the lack of specifics is going to be an interesting thing to watch now when this administration makes this case to members of Congress and the American people about why a couple thousand more troops are needed on the ground in Afghanistan when there isn't a detail of the game plan or the timetable.
Right. That's a $64,000 question. Mm-hmm. What are the 4,000 troops? Why are they needed, and what are they going to be doing once they're there?
I don't think we heard that last night. The president said he will not talk about military game plan. He said there will not be arbitrary timetables, and he's not going to outline those timetables. He does not want to give any info to the enemy so that they could wait the U.S. out or no plans. But then the counter to that would be, well, what's going to happen here? And when will this end? I mean, this is a president who, as a candidate and as a businessman, blasted the previous administration for what he believed was an open-ended conflict. Last night, the president certainly outlined his own open-ended plan.
So how much of this is him listening to his generals? How much of this is Steve Bannon's no longer there? And so what's the dynamic with all that?
It's more the former. I mean, this is a decision that wasn't made in the last 48 hours or since Friday when Steve Bannon left the White House. This was something the president has been considering for months now. I mean, it was a decision he didn't come to easily or quickly. And clearly the generals and the military commanders that he has around him were saying this is what has to happen to break what they consider a stalemate right now in Afghanistan. I think one line that's going to get a lot of attention again in the future will be when the president said that his original instinct was to pull out. He certainly made that very clear years ago that he wanted immediate withdrawal. But he said that when you get into the Oval Office, when you're the president, decisions are much different, implying they're much more difficult. Now, remember, this president said at one point during the campaign he knew more than the generals. Now he's clearly taking their recommendations for what to do next.
It's also interesting that this is the third president who has now either kept troops in there or added troops to Afghanistan. So it seems like as much rhetoric as there is outside of the Oval Office, once you're in that chair, it's much harder to get the troops out.
Absolutely. And, I think if you just presented somebody some quotes from the speech last night, it'd be hard to tell if it was President Obama or if it was President Trump or President Bush saying it. I mean, the goals remain the same. The game plan, the approach, the trying to bring in Pakistan to step up and do more. We've heard a lot of this before. So if you had to say what was new about this strategy, I think it's tough to pinpoint that.
Yeah. Karen Travers, how long did President Trump look up into the sky without his glasses on during the eclipse?
Pretty quick. You could hear somebody yell, "Don't look," from down below the balcony. And then he put the glasses on. But, if there was one thing that doctors, scientists, everybody were saying before yesterday afternoon, it was don't look up at the sun.
But I mean, it was only for an instant, right? It wasn't like he was staring for 5 minutes into the sun.
No.
Okay.
But what an incredible capture from one of the photographers who was brought out with the press yesterday. Great photo.
Go. Karen Travers, thanks for checking in.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You got it.